Welcome once again to Commander by Danon. Today's video was brought to us by Patreon supporter Jay. Huge thanks to Jay and the rest of my Patreon supporters. Jay reached out asking for a treasure deck led by Jolene the Plunder Queen, and I was more than happy to make it for him. By the way, we have made some changes to Patreon. I'll explain what we did and why we did it at the end of the video, so stick around after the deck list if you're curious. If you're enjoying my content, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate the support, and if you like the deck list, consider sharing this video as well. Jolene the Plunder Queen is a 4-mana 2/2 legendary human warrior. Whenever a player attacks one or more of your opponents, that attacking player creates a treasure token. If you would create one or more treasure tokens, create those tokens plus an additional treasure token. We may also sacrifice 5 treasures to put 5+1/+1 counters on Jolene. Now, there are several ways I can see to build Jolene. Jay told me that he's currently running her as a dragon deck, which is appropriate because a lot of dragons have treasure mechanics. You could run her as a sort of Voltron list, protecting your commander, giving her avoidance, and smashing face. We could go the goad route and reward our opponents by pumping. Or we can go the treasure route, making as much treasure as possible and using it to win the game, which is the route we chose. But before we get to our deck list, a quick word from our sponsor, Ultimate Guard. Ultimate Guard is always innovating, and recently they've unveiled their new Druidic Secrets boulders. Turn your deck box into a mystical place. These gorgeous boulders come in a variety of colors and patterns, like this pink-colored one celebrating the movements of the heavens. Study the future so you can be prepared and pick one up yourself at your local game store. Or order one from Amazon. Link down below. In order to build a functional commander deck, you need lots of different pieces, which is why I try to rely on my handy-dandy checklist. 50 mana sources, usually split between 37 lands and 13 pieces of ramp, 10 pieces of card advantage, 8 to 10 pieces of spot removal, 2 to 3 board wipes, 2 pieces of graveyard hate, and 1 sudden I win card. One last announcement before we get into our video. In addition to streaming on Twitch, I am back to streaming on Musings by Danon. Feel free to drop by if you want to talk about Commander or anything else. Command Tower, Exotic Orchard, Wooded Foothills, Scalding Tarn, Verdant Catacombs, Stomping Ground, Spire Garden, Rockfall Vale, Rootbound Crag, Commercial District, Highland Forest, Wooded Ridgeline, Cinderglade, Mossfire Valley, Firelit Thicket, Carplucin Forest, Cragcrown Pathway, Gruel Turf, Scavenger Grounds, 8 mountains, and 9 forests make up the land base for our deck. Dockside Extortionist, Captain Lannery Storm, Goldspan Dragon, Tireless Provisioner, Reign of Riches, Bootlegger's Stash, Old Gnawbone, Ancient Copper Dragon, Cavern Horde Dragon, the Reaver Cleaver, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, 3 Visits, Farseek, Cultivate, Kodama's Reach, and Skyshroud Claim help us to ramp out and stay ahead of the curve. If you don't want to fork over the money for a Dockside Extortionist, grab a copy of Descent into Avernus instead. Remember, our commander increases our treasure production, so it's not symmetrical so long as she's on board. Professional Facebreaker, Big Score, Unexpected Windfall, Magda Brazen Outlaw, Demand Answers, Viridian Revel, Sylvan Library, Jeska's Will, Wheel of Misfortune, and Escape to the Wilds help us to dig through our deck and find answers. Beast Within, Return to Nature, Chaos Warp, Abrade, Heroic Intervention, Deflecting Swat, Tybalt's Trickery, Clouth's Will, Pyroblast, Force of Vigor, Veil of Summer, Girapur Aether Grid, Seize the Spotlight, Manglehorn, Vandal Blast, and Bane of Progress help us to keep our opponents in line. Blasphemous Act, Spiteful Banditry, and Reckless Endeavor help us to reset the board as needed. Zorn, Reckless Fireweaver, Ingenious Artillerist, Academy Manufactor, Pain Distributor, Hellkite Charger, Teamer Sabretooth, Stimulus Package, Bear Umbra, Rampage of the Clans, Guild Artisan, Jaya's Immolating Inferno, and Hellkite Tyrant make up the core of our deck and how we plan on winning. Supporting our plan, we've also got Aggravated Assault, Great Train Heist, Doubling Season, and Parallel Lives. Now that we have our deck list, we can compare it to our checklist. 54 mana sources split between 36 lands and 18 pieces of ramp, counting our commander. A little heavy, I know, but a lot of our ramp pieces are big stompy dragons, so it's fine. 10 pieces of card advantage, 16 pieces of interaction, 3 board wipes, 2 pieces of graveyard hate in Return to Nature and Scavenger Ground, 1 sudden I win card in Rampage of the Clans. Rampage of the Clans is an instant, so assuming we have a whole bunch of treasures, we cast it on an opponent's end step, make a massive army of 3/3 centaurs, and then smash our opponents into tiny pieces. Of course, if that doesn't work, we use Aggravated Assault along with some of our treasure-generating dragons to take infinite combat steps. But even for some reason, if that plan is foiled, we can always use our treasures to cast an enormous Jaya's Immolating Inferno to win the game. Do you have a Jolene the Plunder Queen deck? What theme did you go with? Leave a comment below. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, a huge shout out to my editor Cutestuff. I couldn't make these videos without her. If you'd like to hire her to edit your own videos, she can be reached at cutestuff.edits@gmail.com. Link is down below. If you're looking for ways to support the channel directly, you can head on over to patreon.com/Danon. You can have a video made or just ask for help building or tuning a deck list. As promised, here's the explanation for what's going on with my Patreon. For the past 2 years, I've been building deck lists for patrons. I started out only making 3 videos a week, but soon upped it to 5. I've not been perfect, I'll be the first to admit that, but I do try to make my patrons a deck they'll like. But I put a limit of 20 patrons on my commander tier, because there's only so much time in the month. Each video takes between 3 to 4 hours to make. From building the initial deck list to scripting and then recording the audio is about a half a day of labor. I then hand it over to Cutestuff to edit. This is a long, drawn-out process, and there's only so much time in the month. And every week, I get at least 1 message asking me when a spot will open up on my Patreon. Well, that time is today. Actually, it was a little more than a week ago, since I make my videos in advance and schedule them in the future. Anyway, we split the commander tier in 2. There's now a lower-cost commander tier where I make a deck for you. This tier will not have a limit, and anyone who joins will get 1 deck list per month. But if you want a video on your deck, it will be the same tier as my anime and manga video tier. Now, those videos will be longer, with a more in-depth explanation of the deck. There's a rule in business. When you run out of time because you have too many customers, you increase your price. This will unfortunately cause some of your customers to cancel. This is regrettable but necessary if I want to make content creation a full-time career. I've had more fulfillment and fun doing content creation than any job I've ever had. But I didn't even break $3,000 last year from YouTube earnings. This is why you see so many YouTubers pushing their Patreon. I also want to give a quick shout out to all of my patrons: Waffles, Jiraiya, Danny, Muffins, Marcus, Squishy, Brett, Roxy, Sean, Pob Zombie, Mark, Borgie, Nazwin, Pedro, Midge, Alix, Alex, Julio, Valeri, Conga, Ignis, RJ, Aaron, Chris, Robert, Joel, Brock, and Michael. You guys are awesome. I post new Commander Deck videos every weekday, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of new videos. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again next time on Commander by Danon.